Pathmonk is the intelligent tool for website lead generation. With increasing online competition, over 98% of website visitors don't convert. The ability to successfully show your value proposition and support visitors in their buying journey separates you from the competition online. Pathmonk qualifies and converts leads on your website by figuring out where they are in the buying journey and influencing them in key decision moments with relevant micro experiences like case studies, intro videos, and much more. Stay relevant to your visitors and increase conversions by 50%. Add Pathmonk to your website in seconds. Let the AI do all the work and get access to 50% more qualified leads while you keep doing marketing and sales as usual. Check us on pathmonk.com. Welcome to today's episode. Let's talk about today's guest. We have Elizabeth from Absolute Marketing, CEO with them for more than 16 years now. How are you doing today, Elizabeth?
I'm doing great.
Oh, it's great to have you on today's show. You have a lot of experience, and we're thankful that you're here. And well, let's give what our listeners are tuning in for. Can you tell us a little bit more about what Absolute Marketing is all about?
Yeah, so I actually went to college for web design, and when I got out of that, I realized that there was a lot more that you could do with the marketing side of things. So I still built websites, but I started doing social media and kind of all the things, right? The emails and everything. And then I kind of burnt myself out around 2018, and I changed my entire company because I was doing it the same way everybody else was, like 6 weeks websites and 3-month, membership bill. And then I changed everything, and I changed it to a model that basically allowed me to do basically 10 times what I was doing in the same month for way more money for me and way less money for the customer. So I went to a day system where customers would come and sit with me for one day, get their entire website done or 12 months of social media done, and they would pay one flat fee and it would get done in literally an 8-hour day. And that's what we do now.
Oh, awesome. That's great to hear. So then, so that way our listeners could get a good understanding of your company. So what would you say then is a key problem that you solve for your clients?
Usually we work with smaller businesses or small teams, and they kind of get in the weeds with building a site or creating social content, or even just coming up with an entire marketing strategy for, the year, or kind of even a 6-month strategy. And so we sit with them in a short period of time, a 4-hour day or an 8-hour day, and we get everything literally done. And literally, like if they come in for 12 months of social media, they walk out with over 1,000 posts done in the scheduler, and they don't have to touch it for another 6 months to a year. So, it's something like that where we're solving that problem, getting them actually creating the content, actually looking at and creating the strategy that goes with that, and walking out the door with a completely finished product, whereas they might not have had the time or the discipline in most cases to do it before that.
Definitely, that's great to hear. So then, who would you say are your clients? Is there a vertical? What would be an ideal ICP for you, Elizabeth?
We have worked with so many different small companies, but I really like working with small practices, chiropractors, therapists, things like that. And then we also do really well with people who are in the service industry, whether they're, like a personal trainer or a nanny, private chefs, people like that. They might have a small team helping them promote or helping them even do all the work, but really the marketing strategy and the actual implementation of all of it kind of falls to them or them and one other person, and they can really get in the weeds with that. So, small teams of medical practice type, groups, or smaller teams even of, service-based industries.
Okay, perfect. Great to hear that. And so you being the expert here, how would somebody typically find out about Absolute Marketing, or what would you say is a top client acquisition channel for you?
Well, we have a really big presence on YouTube, and we also have been around for a long time. So we have a ton of word of mouth. But back in the day when we didn't have that word of mouth, we really relied on in-person networking and speaking. And I would say right now we probably get about maybe 40% of our leads from like conferences and speaking engagements, or podcast even. And then the rest of our leads come through word of mouth. And, really the word of mouth has been huge for us. So I would say that's probably the majority of what we have.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Great to hear that. That's always one of the best ones. So awesome. Kudos for you. And well, to our listeners, you could always check them out at getabsolutemarketing.com. Elizabeth, what role does a website play for your client acquisition?
I think for us, and what I tell my customers that it should be for them, it should be a 24-hour salesman for you. You should have that thing ranking out, whatever a salesman would tell someone if they were standing right in front of them. And it should be able to really lead them through that buyer journey, just like what you guys talk about, and finding out even where they are in that journey. I think your website should do that for your customers and for your potential customers. And it does need to be robust enough without being overcomplicated. And I feel like a lot of people kind of fall into these gray areas of either having nothing on their website where I could make a decision on a $3,000 product if I wanted to, or they have too much information and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, well, am I making the right decision spending my $3,000 here? So it's definitely where there's a fine line and kind of this like sweet spot, which you can have just enough information, but also getting people on the phone, getting them into a Zoom meeting, getting them into that actual sales meeting. I think the website should lead them to that sales point, but not necessarily that every website has to make a sale, because I feel like, especially with the service industry, which is what we focus on, you really have that person that's making the sale, that person that's going to do the actual work with them and be there to hold their hand through things. They're the ones who actually have to make that sale. So really the website in those cases should lead them to the sale point, and then the person should take that sale to the closing. But if it's more product-based, then we tend to focus on actually making sure that sale is closed before anyone even ever, you never have to pick up the phone or talk to anyone in person.
Okay, awesome. Great insight there from you. And so then is there any tools or tips or methods that you would recommend to our listeners as far as some lead generation?
Yeah, so I love to give away free content. And I know that a lot of clients of mine, they look at their, website or what they've been putting on social and they say, well, I don't even know what I would give away for free. And I find a lot of times it's the stuff that they're using to sell their clients on. So when someone gives away that kind of free consultation, those things that you are kind of giving them in that free consultation or in that initial phone call that you have with them or that initial sales call you have with them, that's what should be kind of packaged, whether it's a video or a PDF or checklist or a quiz. That's packaged and then given away for free. I can't tell you how many things have benefited me that just as a consumer that I've purchased, free with my email, right? It's free, quote unquote. But I've used my email to gain something. And now that person has a way to contact me and actually close the sale in the future. So I really think that that's a great way to do some conversions. And then also making sure that you're not just using one channel. Your website should be that 24-hour salesperson. But if I just see your website, then I'm not going to really have that credibility behind it, because you could just put up a website, whatever, that doesn't mean anything. But if I also see you on social and I also search you on Google and I see that you've been on 100 podcasts and I see that you, have done all these other things also, then that's going to give me that credibility behind, oh yeah, well, someone told me about this website, or I found it randomly, or I saw a blog post, but you're also on social, you're also on podcasts, and you've got this kind of broad presence that allows me to know that you're legit and you've been there for a while versus just kind of being this random pop-up that I may or may not lose money on, So I just try not to use one channel, but once they actually get to the website, the conversion also happens through that message. And if that message isn't, consistent through all those channels, then it's going to be confusing for the consumer. And if it's not speaking directly to them. So for example, on our website, we say, does SEO confuse you? Is social media causing you anxiety? Those are the people we're after, the people that have those issues. Now, if you don't have those issues, we're probably not the right firm for you. And we know that. And so we want to kind of bring that up front. But we also want to be that comforting kind of like, hey, is this you? Like, we're here for that. That's why we're here. And so that message is really going to be important. I think that's what converts more than any other kind of gimmicky things you could even do.
Definitely. I think just what you mentioned, right? Just being up forward, hey, if it's not for you, then no harm foul, right? So definitely great stuff from you there, Elizabeth. But Let's switch gears a little bit and let's talk about you as a CEO. What are some key tasks you focus on your day-to-day work?
I really like to educate. And so I do a lot of podcasts. I've been on over 200 podcasts. In 2020, I was actually on like 150 just in 2020 alone. And I really enjoy just going on and talking about these things and giving people ideas. I do a ton of videos as well, which we have on our YouTube channel, and I like to give that away for free. And then I also speak a lot. And I really enjoy that education piece because I believe, and this is what I do with my coaching, this is what I do with my marketing, everything that we do is for the person. We want to give them the tools and set them free. There's no, you're going to have to be with us for a year or you're locked into this massive project or whatever. It's, I want to give you as much knowledge and as much power as you want so that you can do most of this on your own or at least maintain the things that we've built for you. So I try to do a lot of education so that people can, hey, if you want to DIY it, go ahead. But there's always going to be people that want their handheld, that want a little extra help or just don't get it quite yet, you know? And so we're going to be there for those people. But I also want the people, the DIYers and kind of the me's of the world. You know, I feel like sometimes I watch a YouTube video and I'm like, yes, I got it. I'm done. I got what I needed out of it. And I want to be helpful to those people as well.
Definitely some great, and that's what everybody looks for. So I think you check all the boxes for marketing firms. So awesome to hear that from you. Well, let's jump into our next section here, Elizabeth. It's a rapid fire question round. So are you ready for them?
Sounds great.
All right. First off, what is the last book that you read?
I have read and reread Profit First multiple times. And so that would be the last one I actually finished, but the one I'm in the middle of right now is 4,000 Weeks, and it's really, really interesting.
Okay, great read from there. For our listeners, you could always check it out. Now, next up is, what is one single thing that your company is focused on at the moment the most?
We are focused on really taking our entire library. We have years and years of great videos and things. And we're taking our entire library and all of our podcasts and putting them into video format on YouTube for free. And we also have a bunch of things on our website right now, which are paid, but they're very low cost. So we're really trying to get a lot of these things that have been behind these massive paywalls out to the public in a more accessible way. So that's our focus right now.
Okay, and for our listeners, how could they check you out on YouTube? What channel do you have there, Elizabeth?
It is Absolute Marketing, and the podcast is also on our channel as well.
All right, perfect, awesome, great stuff. And now, if there would be no boundaries in technology, what would be that one thing that you want to have fixed for your role as a marketer today?
I think if AI could hire for me, that would be great. I'm really bad at hiring people and firing them. So if I could just have like AI do that, that would be great.
I mean, your experiences in marketing, so can hold you accountable for the rest. Awesome. All right. So that is, if there was one repetitive task that you could automate, what would that be?
Well, I did it years ago, and it was posting on social media. And that's when I came up with my formula on how to create 12 months of posts in a day. And once I did that, I felt like my life was totally changed. And so we did that for all of our customers as well. And it's like changed people's lives. So I think it was like one of those things that I always thought was never attainable. It's like I was chained to social media. And then once I did that, I was not only present and current, but I didn't have to literally sit there every day and think of something to put up. So it was life changing when I did that.
That's great to hear. And I think that's what everybody looks for. So great that you discovered it and pretty young, right? Starting off there with the company. So awesome. Well, lastly, Elizabeth, I mean, more than 17 years, right, in the marketing world, your own company, CEO. But what is one piece of advice that you would give yourself if you were to restart your journey as a marketer today?
I would say find a specialty and also make sure that you're using something like Profit First from the very, very beginning. Can't tell you how many years I had wasted and how much money I wasted from not looking at cash flow in the right way. And so any young marketers out there, definitely find a specialty, be really, really, really good at it, and make sure you're really checking that cash flow as it comes and goes, because it will go for sure.
All right. Great advice there. Well, Elizabeth, thank you so much for being on the podcast with us today. I do want to give you the last word. If someone forgets everything about the interview today, what is that one thing they should remember about your company?
Well, we will help people to create 1 year of marketing content in less than 5 days. And I also believe that marketing shouldn't be this difficult. So if it ever becomes something where you're like, oh my gosh, this is like too crazy, I don't know if I can do this, it probably is too crazy and it probably doesn't need to be done. So simplify everything and your marketing will be a lot easier and probably way more effective.
Definitely. Where you guys heard it there from Elizabeth. You could always check them out at getabsolutemarketing.com. Elizabeth, thank you so much for being on today's episode. To our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in and looking forward to our next episode at Pathmonk Presents. Thanks a lot, Elizabeth.
Thanks for having me.